Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. As you can see, we're spreading slurry here again today. That's not what this video is about. I was going making a very, I suppose not a very long, but a longer video, because we're doing a few jobs to the TVT at the moment, and I was just going to put the whole lot of that into one, but I might break it up a bit now. I might add it into some of this, and then during the middle of the week when she's back together, I'll finish it off putting it back together. But there's just basic bits of kind of ripping the axle and stuff like that will be in this video. So I suppose a kind of basically a roundup or a catch up with a lot of ye. I know everyone is observing the sounds and you seem to like the sound of the TVT. It has a different whistle to it, a different note, which is funny enough. It's something that seems very common on them Sisu engines. Some of them can be fierce whistly. You'd even a lot of Masseys. You'd see a lot of Masseys are very whistly like that. I don't know what causes it. Someone might know what causes it. She is a stainless steel exhaust, full stainless exhaust, and stainless baffle, and that's kind of what causes the twang, I suppose, off of it. But for me personally, I think this one sounds the best. I like the roar off of this one, and I'll stick up a bit of a clip of this there once I'm finished my ramblings on. So I suppose I'll recap on comments and a couple there that I definitely didn't answer. I'll just go back a couple of days really and fill you in. Someone asked, why did you change from chrome front and backs to the Pottengers? No, well, I suppose when we set out looking for mowers, my preference would have been Pottenger, definitely. I've no experience with Pottenger mowers, but I really like Pottenger stuff. I think it's well made, and we have a very good Pottenger dealer as well, which stands to the whole lot. So definitely a fan of the Austrian stuff. If you can, I suppose you've partly guessed that by now, but just get on well with we got on very well with the rake, and I've heard good and bad reports about the mowers, but mainly good. So we'll see how we get on with them. Look, there comes a time for everyone when they need to change machinery and just keep it a bit fresher and newer. So it was kind of suited us really at the time to change to the Pottengers. I suppose the groupers probably will come in handy at some stage. They might be taken off, you wouldn't know, but look, they came with them. They cost nothing extra to get it with them, and they're very easy to take off, so kind of a no-brainer really for me. There's also a couple of people asking about, do you need the slurry more watered down for spreading with the trail and shoe and all that. You can see here I'm not going slow, I'm not going very fast. I'm right next, we've already spread a bit here of very liquidy stuff, so it really, you're not destroying the ground. But anyway, besides that point, yes and no. You will put it out if it's thick, and I don't mean solid now, I mean actual thick. Even putting it out with the splash plate will be thick. It will put it out and you will block your rubber boots, but it's just not the job. The more liquidy that stuff is, the way better value you're getting out of that slurry, because when it's thick like that, it just sits on the ground, it doesn't soak in, you don't get your value out of it, and you spend, like, if you add in a tank or two of water just to make it better, it's a far better job in a big tank, because you spend so long trying to suck it out and you're 3/4 way down the tank and you realise that this stuff has gone too thick, and then you have to face and getting water and you have to bring an agitator back, and it's just a hassle. So start as you mean to go on really with it is kind of so I think every other comment or reply has been kind of caught up in there really. I apologise if I missed out on anyone. So basically what you're going to be seeing for this video is the inners, inwards, and the insides of the front axle of the TVT. It's stripped back pretty bare now at the moment, and there's another couple of various bits and pieces. Luckily we're not stuck for it. But we'll get her back together next week, and she'll be ready for road again. It's very important to keep these things right when you have time, because if you don't do the small jobs, they become massive jobs, and they cost substantial amounts of money. So a small bit of maintenance here and there keeps the whole thing ticking away. I try to do that without leaving stuff until the last minute, but that front axle has been put on the long finger since that tractor came. I knew there was a few bits needed to be done to it, and I just put it on the long finger, but instead we get stuck into it now and have it done and ready to go. So thanks everybody for watching. As I said, you'll see the ripping and all that, and next week you'll see her being put back together, and we'll probably be at some other sort of tractor work as well. We'll update you on all of that too. So until then, goodbye. One thing about these tractors, very, very dangerous. That's the only place to put your phone on them, and it's a very dangerous place because you can open the side window and there goes your phone. But anyway, I will be opening the side window, and that's to give you a blast of her, and you can tell me what's your favourite sound on tractor. Not just of ours, but in your own personal preference, what's your favourite sound? We're at what we were previously talking about was our hub, our front hub, and I'm going to whip it out and do the seal, and we'll try and take the play out of the drive shaft going into the hub, which is a very common thing on these Carrero axles. But what can you do? I suppose what I'll have to do here eventually is I'll have to rip off this bracket here to make it a bit easier to access this big nut here, because we have to rip that out, and we'll be putting shims in there that should take the schlap out of the hanger for the drive shaft going into the axle. It's our inner hub seal is leaking, so we'll have to disembowel the hub, I suppose you call it. These are a braked hub, and I've never ripped up a braked hub before, so this will be a bit of an education, and hopefully we'll manage it. If not, look, sure, I can always give someone a ring and they will talk me through it. And I suppose we have a leak underneath there somewhere as well. I have a funny feeling it's like I was saying to you, it's in one of the pipes going along the drive shaft, or the guard for the four-wheel drive shaft. So we'll give a look at that while we're here, while we're so close. We also need to swap back our suspension control units, which is this guy here. I'll probably send that one away to be repaired, or I know there's a local guy who's very good at that kind of stuff. He might be able to give a look at it, and hopefully we'll get it sorted. But I must put a cover back on there for the meantime anyway. And other than that, we have a few small bit to do on the back end. Just gonna take out my lift ram seals and clean them because she's a bit slow dropping, and just kind of a few various small bits and pieces like that she'll be ready to go in the summer. So there'll be no stoppages and no messing around and that kind of thing. So try and get it all done now before we get too busy, and try and have a clear run at the year. That's always our aim and what we can aim to do. So it doesn't always go according to plan, but all you can do is your best. So I'm going to get stuck into this, and I'll update you as we're getting further along or further into the guts of it. As you can see here, we have our front axle totally disassembled on the TVT. We've the same done at the other side, because what we're doing is we're changing hub seals, and I'll just wait for the camera to focus here now. Right, we're changing hub seals, and we're doing another few various bits and pieces because Well, with this much ripping done, might as well change what's needed to be changed in where we are and kind of have her as good as we can really for the season. So while it looks like there's an all merciful amount of stuff off of it, there actually isn't that desperate amount really. And we done this side first, and it was a bit difficult because we didn't really know what we were doing. It was our first time ripping up one of these axles, and when we got to the other side in, there wasn't an hour's work in taking it apart. So all in all, it wasn't too difficult. The book was also a good help, but just to get the knack to know what to do and all that side of it. So anyone that knows these, the Carrero axle, obviously there's a lot of moving parts in it and a lot of weirding and that kind of stuff. We're not going to be doing any of the weirding parts because while we have a bit of wear in them, we don't have an excessive amount of wear in them. So there's no point kind of throwing good money after bad and doing all that kind of stuff. Where our hub seal runs is damaged, if you can see here, it's just the seal has kind of cut into the shaft, so we'll have to get our shafts machined for the hub seals, and that will stop it leaking there, and do, you know, just bits of small bits of bushings, mainly on the drive shaft hanger. People have talked to me and told me about the drive shaft hangers before, and to be honest with you, it didn't make a whole pile of sense until I've had one of them apart. So basically there's a hanger hole in this part here onto the axle, and that's where you get most of your wear or your knocking when you lock on with your 4-wheel drive. So we screwed out the bracket holding in the hanger, and you can put shims in behind them, so that's what I'm getting shims cut at the moment, and we will stick them into it. Should take a lot of the knocking out of it, and hopefully be a good job. So I think I have a funny feeling this torsion bar isn't set right at this side either, because when I went to the other side it was a lot more of an ordeal to get the torsion bar right. It needed to be taken out and all that side of it, but this side was a different ball game. So I was never at the torsion bar on this side, but when we get our wheels back on now and all that, I'll set up the torsion bar properly. Also, while we're this far into it as well, I'm going to do my, I don't know whether I spoke to you about it already, but I'm going to do the ram seals now, because while the ram seals don't need doing, what's a very common thing with these is dirt and water and stuff goes in here and it gets behind your seal and it swells it out, and your lift is very slow to go down. So I'm going to do that now while she's parked up, basically, while I'll be waiting for the other bits and pieces. Kill a few evenings for me. We'll get this done, and that'll be another job ticked off the list and another small improvement done, because like I've said to you many times, that's what it's all about, trying to keep them as good as you possibly can. It definitely pays to mind them. If you leave all these stuffs go and go and go, you just end up with a big ordeal in the end. So I'll be tipping away at these things, and I'll be waiting for stuff to come and stuff to be machined and all that. And we'll be, you know, tidying up small little bits while we're waiting. So I suppose basically my 2 rams and that, and look, I might take off the hitch and get it done as well. There's a small bit of slap in that hitch. Now they're a savage strong hitch, and there isn't a whole pile involved in taking it off either, so it might be just the easiest thing to whip it off and get someone to machine it and build up what needs to be built up and put in bushings and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to get stuck into this and move the rams out. Look, we might give a look. We might go taking apart one of them and show you what's inside there. Well, we have the barrel of our ram here. We just took the piston out of it. I needed a bit of help with that one because it wasn't the easiest thing, and just cleaned up basically where our seal runs, because that's kind of a common problem on these. Where the seal runs, it rusts in behind it. So that's why I was doing these. I've one done, and I dropped the other one off to a guy who's fairly knowledgeable with this kind of thing, because I was having a bit of difficulty, but it's a lot easier to do it actually on the tractor than it is on the ground. So if he's under a bit of pressure and he don't have too much time, I might just grab it back off him and stick it back on the tractor, and we will be able to do it fairly easily once the two of us are around. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a bit of grease in behind where the seal runs, so that'll stop it from rusting in behind it, because the rust pushes out the seal, and the seal is obviously very tight to your piston in, and that's where you run into the difficulty. So once I've this done now, we can shove our snap ring back in, and once we have our snap ring back in, we can throw in our seals, push down our piston, and get our snap ring to lock back onto it again. So if you can bear with me for one moment, please, I will have this done and we'll be finished with this part. So in goes our snap ring. And once we push our piston down, it should grab on him and pull the piston back up, and I can knock him into place. It was a very knowledgeable Deutz guru was telling me how to do all of these things. Last time we ran into this trouble was with the CVX, but like I was saying to you, while I have this one ripped up now, I'll just cure all these kind of funny things, because I'll be waiting a bit for the parts. Funny enough, Brexit is causing a bit of issue getting parts. Wouldn't think it'd actually cause trouble, but there you go, talking to a few suppliers and guys selling parts and stuff. It is causing them a bit of aggravation, so I hope they sort all that side of it out soon, because it's a bit of a pain really. But anyway, well, apologies for the shakiness, because I'm trying to do about 3 things at the one time. But anyway, my piston is back in. I don't know if you'll be able to see here. You can just see it, the snap ring is sitting at the bottom of the piston now. So what I have to try and do is get that up onto where it locks into. So again, I'm going to need both my hands, but I thought it would be worthwhile showing nonetheless where that snap ring is, because the first time we done this we didn't have a notion how to get it out. So just said I'd add that in, and I'll put the camera down and I'll be jostling trying to get it back up.